Pink Lemonade. And I've been in process for 10 years to write that book, because I wanted to share the story about my friend and the great things that she did and she inspired me to do. And as I was writing the book, I just kept thinking, it was really hard. I just really had to wrap my mind around it because, again, I wasn't a writer. I was a speaker. And so a speaker has a really hard time sitting down and writing stuff. But anyway, as I was writing and working on the book and thinking, okay, I need to do this thing too. And so I got working on the book and waiting for the doctor. Finally, my time comes, had the hysterectomy thing at 50 as well. I'm thinking, okay, let's just get it all done at 50. We're getting tuned up. Well, I got tuned up all right, and I had my hip replaced. And I'm getting excited thinking, yes, I can get back to the gym now, and I can really get working, and this is going to be all good. The new year's coming, and it's going to be great. Well then, a week later after my hip, I had a little dizzy spell getting up during the night. And my husband, the good doctor that he is, says, oh honey, I think you're throwing a blood clot. The good nurse that I am says, you are crazy. What do you know? Well, I am the doctor in the family, and I said, well, but you guys are wrong too sometimes, right? He doesn't ever like to hear that, but I have to tell him, keep him in line. But he said, no, honey, you had a major surgery, and I think you need to be checked out. So we went to the hospital, and I had no idea why I was doing this dizzy thing, but I was so dizzy. And as they were doing the testing, the doctor comes back at 4 in the morning, and he says, Gail, he says, I don't know how to tell you this. I can't even believe I have to say this to you because I'm shocked myself. But your husband had ordered a CT screening because he thought you were throwing a blood clot. And instead, we found that it's lung cancer. And as I lay there thinking about all this, it's 4 in the morning, I'm a little tired, I'm a little worn out, I'm a little ticked off because I'm really dizzy and my head's still spinning. And they can't tell me why my head's spinning, but he can tell me that I had lung cancer. And so quite honestly, for myself, it kind of went over my head as my husband fell to his knees going, oh my God, because he sees cancer every day. He's a cancer doctor. But fortunately for me, it kind of went over my head at the time, and everything very rapidly happened. A week later, I was having biopsy, every blessed part of my body being biopsied. And I'm sure those of you here who have had breast cancer have experienced that, where you go through all these different testing. Well, it was a very interesting situation because I went from being the nurse and a caregiver, and now I was on the other side being a patient. But I have to tell you that in this field of cancer, there are so many wonderful doctors and nurses, healthcare providers, even the people that were cooking my meals for me. These people were awesome. What a great group of people. Could never have done this without them. Never. So for those of you who work in the healthcare field, and those of you who are caregivers to somebody who has been through this, I commend you because it's a really tough place to be. But yet you guys have made it very, very special. I felt very at ease and very comfortable just kind of showing up. I didn't like being biopsied. I didn't like those needles sticking out of my neck that I used to have. You heard about everybody else doing it, and now all of a sudden you're doing it. That was not a fun thing. But you know what? When it was all said and done and I went back home and everybody, after everybody leaves and you're by yourself, and I thought about Rita. And I thought, wow, if I would not have had that experience from her of living through cancer, what would I have done? Without knowledge, we're not very powerful. And I had all the knowledge in the world now. Unfortunately, my knowledge was more about breast cancer for those 10 years than it was about lung cancer. And I heard that little voice speak to me. That's exactly correct. Now you need to get out and talk about lung cancer, because lung cancer is where breast cancer was 30 years ago. People don't want to talk about it. They don't want to do the CT screening. They don't want all these things to happen. But yet, millions of people are dying of lung cancer every day, and we don't even know about it. And by the grace of God, I'm still here. And so I decided, as I lay there and had a little discussion with my friend and said, okay, this is my purpose now. Yours was breast, mine is lung. We got to get out and do something. And I still had this book sitting there that I was working on. And I told my husband, I said, I just don't know why I just can't finish this. This last chapter just doesn't seem right. Well, little did I know that the last chapter would change the course of cancer. But I still didn't want to finish that book. I was still just really just, ugh. Until one night, my little grandson, who's 9 now, he called and he said, Grammy, when are you going to finish Pink Lemonade? And I took a deep breath and I said, Colin, that is a really good question. But Grammy's going to do it tonight. And I got up and I went back into my computer and I started on that book. Got the book finished, the book went to the printer, and my son Adam, who is with me here tonight, we kept talking back and forth because you know my son Adam had that little voice about 8 months earlier when he kept telling me, Mom, for some reason I think I'm supposed to come and work with you. I said, Adam, you can't do that. You have your own business in Cincinnati. I'm in Wisconsin. That's not going to work. I know, Mom, but I don't know. I just think I'm supposed to work with you. And so I said, okay. As Rita would say, let's pray about it, let's think about it, we'll sleep on it, call you in the morning. And so that's what we did. And do you know that Adam ended up moving up about 2 weeks before I was diagnosed with lung cancer? Isn't that interesting? And he became my caregiver along with my husband. And let me tell you, they were not happy campers. How many of you all are caregivers for somebody or have been a caregiver for somebody going through treatments? You guys know what it's like? Oh my gosh. I remember the one particular day. There were many, but one particular day where his eyes were about this big around going, I am, get the heck away from her. I'd be crying 1 minute, I'd be laughing the next minute, I'd be screaming my head off the next minute. I ran the whole gamut, and he and my husband, God love them, they had no idea what to do with me. But he kept saying, Mom, you got to get the book done. We got to get this stuff done. And they were very patient, even though they wanted to throw me in the lake. They were very patient, and they kept working, get her going. But again, I'm very blessed to have had very good caregivers who made me walk when I didn't want to get out of bed, and who made me write when I didn't want to write. And I'm very grateful that I'm still here. But anyway, Adam then moved up with me. We started working together. The book was finished, and then, there was a dilemma. Now what do we do? Because they said you had to sell those things.